All right, get this. Today we're diving into the mind-bending world of parallel universes. You sent us a bunch of fascinating excerpts about this, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride. Basically, what if there are infinite versions of you out there living slightly or wildly different lives? And what if they're trying to reach you?
What's fascinating here is that we're not just talking science fiction. There's real scientific and metaphysical grounding for this idea.
Okay, so let's unpack this. For starters, what exactly are parallel universes?
Imagine this. Every single decision you've ever made, right, creates a split in reality.
Oh, wow.
Each split leads to a brand new universe
Yeah.
where that other choice played out. That's the essence of the multiverse theory. Our reality is just one of countless others.
So there's a universe out there where I took that chance and became a rock star instead of talking into this microphone.
It's entirely possible.
Wow.
Each universe operates independently, but with similar laws of physics. And get this, within that framework, countless versions of you are living out entirely different paths in these alternate realities.
Okay, so multiple versions of me are out there doing their thing in different universes. Got it. But the source material you're looking at takes it a step further, right? It suggests these parallel versions might be trying to contact us. How is that even possible?
That's where it gets really interesting. The source material points to déjà vu. Those repeating numbers you see everywhere, super vivid dreams, even glitches in reality as potential signs.
Hold on, are you saying those weird moments when I feel like, wait, have I been here before? Or when I see 11.11 on the clock constantly, could those actually be messages from another me?
Potentially.
Wow.
The source material dives into some pretty mind-boggling scientific and metaphysical ideas to explain how this type of communication might work. Take quantum entanglement, for example.
Quantum entanglement vaguely rings a bell. It's something to do with particles being connected even when they're miles apart.
Exactly. Quantum entanglement suggests that two particles can be so deeply linked that the state of one instantly influences the other, no matter the distance. This instantaneous connection hints that information might travel across space without being limited by physical separation.
So if particles can be connected across vast distances, could our consciousness, our energy, also connect us with our parallel selves across dimensions?
That's precisely the idea.
Okay.
It's as if our consciousness acts like a radio frequency, capable of tuning in to parallel versions of ourselves.
That's a bit freaky.
It is.
But let's get into those signs. The source material you've been working with gives specific examples, right?
Yes. It breaks down some key signs that your parallel self might be trying to reach out.
Let's start with one I think a lot of people have experienced seeing repeating numbers. Have you ever noticed the same number sequence over and over again, like 11.11 or 333?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Repeating numbers are often considered a form of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that seem too precise to be random. You know those times you glance at the clock and it's 11.11?
Yeah.
Some believe that's a direct message from your higher self, urging you to pay attention. Big decisions or changes might be on the horizon.
So no cosmic decoder ring needed then, just gotta trust my gut.
Exactly. It's a call to tap into your intuition, that inner knowing.
Okay.
You and your parallel self might be heading toward a similar goal or transformative experience.
Okay, what about other numbers, like 333, for example? What if I'm seeing that one everywhere?
333 often relates to creativity, growth, and balance. It could suggest your parallel self is either experiencing a burst of creativity or working on balancing their life.
Okay.
And it might be a nudge for you to focus on those areas too.
So we're vibing on the same frequency, even across different realities.
Precisely. Imagine the energy and thoughts from your parallel self vibrating at a certain frequency. When those vibrations align with your reality, they might show up as repeated symbols, like those numbers grabbing your attention, acting as a way for your parallel self to guide you or communicate.
My head is spinning a little bit. What about those vivid dreams we were talking about? You know, the ones that feel incredibly real.
Yes.
Those are in the source material too, right?
Absolutely. The source suggests that dreams could be glimpses into the lives of your parallel selves.
So that crazy dream I had where I'm suddenly a world-famous chef, even though I can barely boil water in real life, could that be a peek into another version of me who actually followed that culinary path?
It's certainly possible. What if those wild, out-of-character dreams are showing you alternate paths you haven't explored yet?
So even if they seem totally bizarre, we should pay attention to those dreams.
Absolutely. The source material suggests that instead of dismissing those dreams as random firings of our brains, we should view them as potential messages from other versions of ourselves.
Okay, this is getting deep. We've covered repeating numbers, vivid dreams. What else should we be looking out for?
The source material also talks about reality glitches.
Reality glitches. Sounds like we're stepping into the matrix here. What exactly does that mean?
Think of objects moving on their own, time speeding up or slowing down, or even people remembering events differently. Those moments where reality seems to bend or break for a second. Have you ever felt that eerie sense of déjà vu, like you've lived this moment before? That could be a sign from a parallel you, a whisper across dimensions.
I definitely have. Like that time when I was positive I left my keys on the counter, but then they were suddenly hanging on the hook by the door. It totally freaked me out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those seemingly impossible moments could be signs from a parallel you trying to get your attention.
So my parallel self was tidying up, and somehow that action bled into my reality.
That's wild. What about those days that feel like they drag on forever, or conversely, when you blink and suddenly hours have passed? The source material suggests that even time itself might not be as rigid as we think. These experiences could signify that your parallel self is navigating a different timeline, and as those timelines converge, you momentarily experience the effects of those shifts.
Okay, so let's say I'm experiencing these glitches, these weird moments. What am I supposed to do? Just chalk it up to a cosmic coincidence?
The source material encourages us to view these glitches as subtle invitations from our parallel selves to pay attention to the signs around us. It's about tuning into those intuitive nudges, those seemingly random thoughts and impulses, and considering that they might be coming from a source beyond our conscious awareness.
So like if I find a random object that seems to have appeared out of nowhere, it might have a symbolic meaning related to a decision my parallel self is making.
Exactly. Or if everything falls in place or you feel a sudden rush of inspiration, it could be a sign that your parallel self is trying to guide you toward a path they have embraced.
This is seriously making me rethink every weird thing that's ever happened to me. So we've got repeating numbers, vivid dreams, reality glitches. Is there anything else we should be looking out for?
The source material also points to a more subtle sign: your intuition and those unexplained urges that come out of nowhere.
Like those gut feelings that hit you out of the blue, like suddenly feeling compelled to call an old friend or take a different route home.
Precisely. Those random thoughts and urges might be messages from other versions of ourselves, guiding us towards growth and change.
Okay, so if I get this sudden urge to book a flight to Paris, even though I haven't thought about traveling in ages, maybe that means my parallel self is living it up in France and trying to nudge me towards a similar adventure.
It's a possibility. It's about tuning into those intuitive nudges and considering that they might be coming from a source beyond our conscious awareness.
This is seriously a lot to take in. How do we even know if we're really connecting with our parallel selves or just letting our imaginations run wild?
That's a great question, and it's something the source material addresses as well. It talks about the importance of strengthening our intuition.
So learning to trust our gut feelings more.
Yes, but it goes deeper than that. The source suggests we can practice connecting with our parallel selves through visualization exercises.
Visualization, like closing my eyes and picturing my other self hanging out in Paris.
It's a bit more involved, but you're on the right track. It involves finding a quiet space, focusing on your breath, and then visualizing yourself standing in front of your parallel self.
Wait, so I'm actually picturing another me standing right there.
Yes, and then you can imagine a bright, glowing line of light connecting your third eye, that space on your forehead, to the third eye of your parallel self. This acts as an energy bridge between you. And from there, you can mentally ask your parallel self a question like, what message do you have for me? Or what do I need to know?
Okay, now that's getting a little spooky, but I have to admit, I'm intrigued. So I sit there, picture my parallel self, ask a question, then what?
Then you simply observe what comes to mind. A feeling, an image, a word, a sensation, anything.
And I'm supposed to trust that those random thoughts are actually coming from my parallel self.
The source material encourages us to trust those intuitive whispers, even if they don't make sense right away. With practice, we can refine our ability to receive messages from other dimensions.
Whoa, this is next level stuff. So we're not just passive recipients of these messages. We can actively reach out and connect with our parallel selves.
That's the exciting part. We can tap into this interdimensional network and potentially gain insights, guidance, and even inspiration from our alternate realities.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is a lot to process. But before we go too far down the rabbit hole, let's address the big question. Are parallel universes even real?
Ah, the million-dollar question.
Right.
And that's where things get even more complex and a bit controversial. While the idea of parallel universes has roots in theoretical physics, it's still a hot topic of debate within the scientific community.
So no definitive proof, but it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility either.
Exactly. There are scientific theories that lend support to the idea of a multiverse, but we're a long way from concrete evidence.
Okay, let's delve into that. What are some of those scientific theories suggesting parallel universes might actually exist?
One key theory is string theory, the idea that the universe is made up of tiny vibrating strings,
Right.
existing in more than just the three dimensions we know.
Okay.
According to some models, these strings operate in up to 11 dimensions.
11 dimensions. Okay, now my brain is officially fried. But how does that tie into parallel universes?
Well, according to string theory, these extra dimensions could hold the key to understanding how different realities overlap or intersect. If energy, thoughts, or even consciousness vibrate at different frequencies, they could cross into these other dimensions, right? This opens up the possibility of brief connections between different versions of ourselves.
So it's like our consciousness is surfing these different dimensions, bumping into our other selves along the way.
That's one way to visualize it.
Okay, so string theory is one piece of the puzzle. What other scientific theories support this idea of parallel universes?
Another theory is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. It proposes that every time a quantum measurement is made, every time a particle's state is observed, the universe splits into multiple branches, each representing a different outcome.
Okay, slow down a second. What's a quantum measurement?
Think of it as observing a particle's properties, like its position or momentum. According to quantum mechanics, these properties exist in a state of superposition, meaning they can be in multiple states at once until they're measured.
So it's like a particle is both here and there at the same time until someone observes it.
Exactly. And observing it forces it to choose one state, collapsing the superposition. But according to the many worlds interpretation, the other possible states don't just vanish. They continue to exist in separate branches of reality.
So every time we observe something at the quantum level, we're creating new universes.
That's the mind-blowing implication of this theory. It suggests that with every quantum measurement, the universe multiplies, creating an ever-expanding tree of parallel realities.
Whoa. So we've got string theory and the many worlds interpretation, two major scientific theories that, at least hypothetically, support the idea of parallel universes. But even with these theories, we're still in the realm of speculation, right?
Absolutely. These theories provide a framework for understanding how parallel universes might work, but we're a long way from definitive proof.
Okay, so what about the flip side? Are there any scientific arguments against the existence of parallel universes?
There are definitely challenges to the idea.
Yeah.
One major criticism is that the concept of a multiverse is inherently difficult to test. We can't just hop in a spaceship and travel to another universe to confirm it exists.
So it's a theory that's hard to prove or disprove.
Exactly. Another criticism is that the idea of infinite universes raises questions about the nature of infinity itself. Some argue that it's logically problematic to assume an infinite number of anything, including universes.
So it's not just a scientific question, but a philosophical one as well.
Absolutely. The idea of parallel universes pushes the boundaries of how we understand reality and forces us to grapple with some of the most fundamental questions about existence itself.
Okay, so even with the scientific theories and the intriguing signs, there's still a healthy dose of skepticism and debate surrounding the idea of parallel universes. But let's be honest, it's a pretty fascinating concept, even if it's just a possibility.
I agree. Whether or not we can definitively prove the existence of parallel universes, the idea itself opens up our minds to the vastness of reality and the potential for possibilities beyond our current comprehension.
All right, so let's say, for the sake of argument, that parallel universes do exist. What does that mean for us? How does knowing about our other selves, living out different lives in different realities, change our perspective on our own lives?
That's a fantastic question, and one that takes us beyond science and into philosophy, spirituality, and even personal growth.
Okay, let's go there. What are some potential implications of knowing we have these alternate selves out there living out different versions of our lives?
One implication is that it expands our sense of possibility. If our reality is just one of many, then the potential for what we can achieve, who we can become, is essentially limitless.
So instead of feeling limited by the choices we've made or the path we're on, we can view our lives as just one branch on a much larger multidimensional tree.
Exactly. It's a shift from a linear view of reality to a more expansive, multifaceted perspective.
That's actually a pretty liberating thought.
It is.
It's like taking the pressure off of having to make the right choices, knowing that even our so-called mistakes are just leading us to a different branch of reality.
It's about embracing the idea that there's no one right path, but rather an infinite tapestry of possibilities.
I like that. So expanded possibilities.
hmm
What else? How does knowing about our parallel selves impact our understanding of ourselves?
It can deepen our sense of self-compassion. If we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, feeling inadequate, it can be helpful to remember that there are infinite versions of us out there, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, triumphs and failures.
So instead of beating ourselves up for our shortcomings, we can view ourselves as part of a larger, multidimensional being with a vast range of experiences and perspectives.
Exactly. It's a way of acknowledging our own complexity and embracing the full spectrum of who we are.
That's a great point. It's a way of honoring all parts of ourselves, even the parts we might not always love. Okay, so expanded possibilities, self-compassion. What other insights can we gain from this idea of parallel selves?
It can inspire us to live more authentically. If there are infinite versions of us out there, each living out a different set of choices, then the version of us in this reality is the one most aligned with our soul's purpose, our true desires.
So it's like we're here for a reason, even if we don't always know what that reason is.
Precisely. And by tuning into our intuition, listening to those inner whispers, we can uncover our unique path and live a life that feels more true to ourselves.
That's powerful stuff. It's like we're being called to step into our full potential, knowing that this version of us is meant to shine.
It's about embracing our individuality and recognizing that we each have a unique contribution to make to the world.
Okay, so expanded possibilities, self-compassion, living authentically, those are some pretty profound implications, but it's still a lot to wrap my head around. How do we even begin to integrate this idea of parallel selves into our daily lives?
That's a great question, and one we'll explore in more depth as we continue this deep dive. But for now, I think the key is to simply be open to the possibility.
Open to the possibility that there might be more to reality than we see, that there might be other versions of ourselves out there living different lives, making different choices, and maybe even trying to reach us.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a sense of curiosity and wonder about the nature of reality and our place within it.
Okay, I think I can handle that. Curiosity and wonder, I'm all in. But before we go any further, let's take a moment to let all of this sink in. We've covered a lot of ground already.
Sounds good. In our next segment, we'll dig deeper into the signs that your parallel self might be trying to reach you and explore some practical tips for strengthening your intuition and connecting with your multidimensional self.
Can't wait. Until next time, keep an eye out for those repeating numbers, pay attention to your dreams, and don't dismiss those weird glitches in reality. You never know, it might just be your parallel self trying to say hello.
Welcome back. I'm curious, have you had a chance to kind of ponder those possibilities we discussed in the last segment?
I definitely have. My mind is still buzzing with all this talk of parallel universes and alternate selves. I've even caught myself, like, checking the clock more often, just in case 11:11 pops up.
It's amazing how just becoming aware of these concepts can really shift our perception and just make us more attuned to the subtle synchronicities happening all around us.
Okay, so where do we go from here? We've talked about the theory, behind parallel universes, and some potential signs our other selves might be trying to reach us. But, like, what can we actually do with this information? How do we turn this, like, mind-bending concept into something practical that can actually, like, enhance our lives?
That's the exciting part. The source material we're exploring suggests that by strengthening our intuition, we can not only become more receptive to messages from our parallel selves, but we can also gain valuable insights and guidance to help us navigate our own lives.
Okay, let's talk about intuition then. What exactly is it, and how do we make it stronger? Is it like a muscle we can exercise?
Yeah, think of intuition as that inner knowing, the gut feeling that guides us beyond logic and reason. It's that voice that whispers like, go this way, or don't trust that person, even when you can't explain why.
I know exactly what you mean. Like, that time I had this sudden urge to cancel my flight, even though everything seemed fine. I couldn't explain it, but something just felt off. And then, wouldn't you know it, the flight ended up getting canceled anyway.
That's a perfect example of intuition at work. And yes, you can think of it like a muscle that gets stronger with practice. The more we pay attention to those intuitive nudges, the more we trust and act on them, the more finely tuned our intuition becomes.
Okay, so how do we actually strengthen our intuition? Is it about, like, meditation? Or are there other things we can do?
Meditation is definitely a really powerful tool for quieting the mind. and tuning into our inner wisdom. But there are many other practices that can help us cultivate our intuition as well.
Like what? Give me some examples.
One simple practice is to just start paying attention to your dreams. Keep a dream journal by your bed and jot down as much as you can remember, right? As soon as you wake up, don't worry about making sense of it right away. Just capture the details, the emotions, the symbols.
And how does that help with intuition?
Dreams often speak to us in the language of symbols and metaphors, right? Bypassing our logical minds and tapping directly into our subconscious. By paying attention to those dreams, we start to recognize patterns and themes that can provide insights into our waking lives.
So like if I keep dreaming about being lost in a forest, it might be a sign that I'm feeling lost or directionless in my waking life.
Exactly. Dreams can offer clues about our fears, our desires, and unresolved issues. By paying attention to those clues, we can start to address them in our everyday lives.
Okay, dream journaling. That's one practice. What else?
Another powerful practice is to spend time in nature.
Oh, yeah.
Nature has a way of grounding us, calming our minds, and connecting us to something larger than ourselves.
I can definitely relate to that. I always feel more centered and peaceful after like a walk in the woods. But how does that connect to intuition?
When we're surrounded by nature, our senses are heightened. We're more likely to pick up on subtle cues and energies. It's as if nature helps us tune into a different frequency, one that's more aligned with our intuition.
So it's like taking a break from all the noise and distractions of modern life and allowing ourselves to tap into something more primal, more intuitive.
Exactly. It's about finding moments of stillness and allowing our intuition to surface.
Dream journaling, spending time in nature. Any other tips for boosting our intuition?
Another practice is to cultivate mindfulness in our daily lives. This means paying attention to the present moment, noticing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, and being aware of your surroundings.
So it's about like being more present, more in tune with ourselves and our environment.
Exactly. When you're mindful, you're more likely to notice those subtle, intuitive nudges, those whispers of guidance that you might otherwise miss.
It's like we're training ourselves to pay attention to the little things, those seemingly insignificant details that might actually hold like important clues.
Intuition is often subtle. It's like a gentle breeze rather than a strong gust of wind. The more we cultivate mindfulness, the more sensitive we become to those subtle cues.
I'm getting the sense that strengthening our intuition is about more than just like specific techniques or practices. It's about cultivating a certain mindset, like a way of being in the world.
You're absolutely right. It's about shifting from a purely logical, analytical way of thinking to a more intuitive, heart-centered way of being.
So it's not about abandoning logic altogether, but about like finding a balance between our heads and our hearts.
Exactly. Intuition isn't opposed to logic. It's a complementary way of knowing. It's about integrating both our rational and intuitive faculties to make decisions and navigate our lives.
Okay, I like that. It's about embracing the full spectrum of our intelligence, both the logical, A and D, the intuitive. Let's circle back to the idea of connecting with our parallel selves, though. How does intuition play into that?
Well, if you think of your intuition as a kind of inner compass, right?
Yeah.
Then it stands to reason that it could also help us navigate the vast terrain of the multiverse.
So our intuition can help us tune into the frequencies of our other selves, those versions of us that exist in other dimensions.
Exactly. By strengthening your intuition, you're refining your ability to receive messages from those other realms, including the realms where your parallel selves reside.
Okay, so let's say I've been working on strengthening my intuition through, dream journaling, spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness. How do I actually use my intuition to connect with my parallel selves?
The source material suggests a few really intriguing techniques for doing just that. One of those powerful techniques is visualization.
Visualization. We talked about that earlier, right? Closing my eyes and picturing my parallel self.
Exactly. Visualization is a powerful tool for tapping into the subconscious mind and accessing realms beyond our ordinary perception.
Okay, so how does it work? Do I just close my eyes, picture my other self, and wait for them to start talking to me?
It's a bit more involved than that, but you're on the right track. The key is to set a clear intention to connect with your parallel self.
Okay.
And then use visualization to create a bridge between your consciousness and theirs.
So it's like building an interdimensional communication channel using the power of our minds.
Precisely. And with practice, we can strengthen this channel and make the communication clearer and more consistent.
Okay, walk me through it. What are the steps for using visualization to connect with our parallel selves?
First, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Turn off your phone, dim the lights, and create a calming atmosphere.
Mm.
It's all about setting the stage for a meaningful connection.
So, like setting the stage for an interdimensional rendezvous.
You got it. You want to create a space that feels sacred and conducive to inner exploration.
All right, quiet space, check. What's next?
Next, get comfortable. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Focus on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body.
Okay.
This will help calm your mind and shift your awareness inward.
Deep breaths, check. What then?
Now, bring your parallel self to mind.
Mm.
Imagine them standing before you, as real and vivid as you can. What are they wearing? What's their posture like? What kind of energy are they radiating?
Okay, I'm picturing them now. It's a little strange, but I'm going with it.
Good. Now imagine a bright glowing line of light connecting your third eye, that space between your eyebrows, to the third eye of your parallel self. This line of light represents the connection between your consciousness and theirs.
Okay, I've got the light beam going. What do I do next?
Now simply open your heart and mind to your parallel self. You can mentally ask them a question or just express your desire to connect.
And then I just wait.
Yes, but wait with an open and receptive attitude. Don't try to force anything or expect a specific outcome. Simply allow whatever arises to come forth.
So I might hear a voice in my head, or I might get a feeling, or I might just see an image.
Exactly. The communication can come in many forms. It might be a word, a phrase, a symbol, a feeling, a knowing. Just trust whatever comes through.
Okay, I'm trusting the process, but what if nothing happens? What if I just sit there and crickets?
Don't worry, that's perfectly normal. It takes practice to refine our ability to connect with other realms. The key is to be patient, persistent, and above all, to trust your intuition.
So even if I don't get like a clear message right away, I should just like keep practicing.
Absolutely. The more you practice, the stronger your connection will become. And even if you don't consciously receive a message, your subconscious mind is still absorbing information and energy from that connection.
So it's like planting a seed and then nurturing it with patience and intention.
Exactly. And over time, that seed will sprout and grow into a beautiful flower of connection and understanding.
I like that analogy. So visualization is one technique for connecting with our parallel selves. Are there any other techniques we can use?
Yes, the source material suggests a few other interesting methods. One method is to work with mirrors.
Mirrors, like staring into a mirror and waiting for my other self to appear.
It's not quite as literal as that. But mirrors can be powerful tools for accessing other realms. They act as portals, reflecting back to us not just our physical appearance, but also our inner landscapes.
Okay, so how do we use mirrors to connect with our parallel selves?
One technique is to sit comfortably in front of a mirror, gazing softly at your reflection. As you gaze, allow your mind to relax and become more receptive. You can silently invite your parallel self to show themselves to you.
And then what? Do I just like wait and see what happens?
Yes, but be open to subtle shifts in your perception. You might notice a slight change in your reflection, a flicker of movement, a subtle energy shift.
Okay, I'm trying to picture this. It sounds a little spooky, but I'm willing to give it a try. Any other mirror techniques?
Another technique is to use a handheld mirror. Hold the mirror in front of your face and slowly move it back and forth, as if you're searching for something. As you move the mirror, focus your intention on connecting with your parallel self.
And what am I like looking for? A glimpse of another face in the mirror.
Not necessarily. You might see a fleeting image, or you might just get a feeling, an intuitive nudge.
So it's about trusting our senses and being open to whatever arises.
Exactly. The mirror acts as a catalyst, amplifying our intuitive faculties and helping us perceive subtle energies.
Okay, mirror work. That's another technique. What other methods does the source material suggest?
Another intriguing method is to work with crystals.
Crystals, as in those pretty rocks that people use for like healing and meditation.
Exactly. Crystals are believed to hold and amplify energy, and certain crystals are thought to be particularly helpful for connecting with other realms.
So which crystals are best for connecting with our parallel selves?
Some crystals that are often recommended for this purpose include moldavite, celestite, and amethyst. Moldavite is thought to facilitate interdimensional communication. Celestite is believed to connect us to higher realms, and amethyst is known for enhancing intuition and spiritual awareness.
Okay, so let's say I've got my crystal. How do I actually use it to connect with my parallel selves?
One simple technique is to hold the crystal in your hand during meditation. As you meditate, Focus your intention on connecting with your parallel self and allow the crystal's energy to amplify your intention.
So it's like the crystal acts as a kind of energetic booster for my intentions.
Exactly. You can also place the crystal on your third eye during meditation, or simply keep it nearby in your energy field.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. Whether we're using visualization, mirrors, or crystals, it seems like the key is to create a clear intention for connecting with our parallel selves, and then use these tools to kind of amplify our intention and facilitate the connection.
You're absolutely right. It's all about intention and energy. The more we focus our intention and energy on connecting with our parallel selves, the more likely we are to experience a tangible connection.
This is fascinating stuff, but I have to admit it also raises some questions. For example, if we're connecting with these other versions of ourselves, what are the ethics of that? Are we interfering with their lives in some way?
That's a really important question, and it's one that deserves careful consideration. The source material we're exploring emphasizes the importance of approaching these connections with respect and reverence.
So it's not about trying to control or manipulate our parallel selves, but about approaching them with a spirit of curiosity and openness.
Exactly. We want to view these connections as a form of sacred communication, honoring the autonomy and free will of our other selves.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the practical side of things? What if I connect with my parallel self and they're living a life that I envy? What if they've achieved all the things that I dream of but haven't been able to manifest in my own life? Could that make me feel worse about my own WN situation?
That's a very valid concern. It's important to remember that comparison is the thief of joy. Just because our parallel selves might be experiencing different circumstances, it doesn't mean that our own lives are any less valuable or meaningful.
So it's about appreciating the uniqueness of our own journey, even if it's different from the journeys of our other selves.
Exactly. Each version of us is on a unique path, and each path has its own challenges and rewards. The key is to focus on our own growth and evolution, rather than comparing ourselves to others, even our parallel selves.
That's a good reminder. It's easy to get caught up in the what ifs and the if onlys, but ultimately it's our own journey that matters most. We've talked about techniques for connecting with our parallel selves, the ethics of these connections, and the importance of avoiding comparison. What else do we need to know?
I think the most important thing to remember is that this is a journey of exploration and discovery. There are no right or wrong answers, no set formulas. It's about trusting your intuition, experimenting with different techniques, and being open to the infinite possibilities that exist within and beyond ourselves.
I'm definitely ready for the adventure. But before we wrap up this segment, I have one more question. We've talked a lot about the benefits of connecting with our parallel selves, gaining insights, guidance, inspiration. But are there any potential downsides? Anything we need to be, cautious of?
That's a great question, and it's one that we'll explore in more depth in our next segment. But for now, I'll just say that it's important to approach these connections with discernment and to be mindful of your own energy and boundaries.
Okay, that sounds like a good place to leave it for now. Until next time, keep those minds open, those hearts receptive, and those intentions clear. The multiverse awaits. Welcome back to our deep dive into parallel universes. I don't know about you, but after that last segment, I'm feeling energized. There's this whole hidden dimension just waiting to be explored.
I love that enthusiasm. It's all about embracing that sense of wonder and possibility. But just like with any exploration into uncharted territory, it's wise to proceed with a little caution, right?
Which is exactly what we're talking about today, right? The potential downsides of connecting with our parallel selves.
Right.
What are some things we should be aware of?
One potential pitfall is becoming so fixated on our parallel selves that it distracts us from our own lives.
So instead of focusing on our own growth and goals, we're spending all our time daydreaming about what our other selves are up to.
Exactly. It's like getting lost in a captivating movie, forgetting that we're the main characters in our own stories. Remember, the whole point of connecting with our parallel selves is to gain insights and inspiration that can help us create a more fulfilling life, right here, right now.
Right. Avoid getting lost in the lives of our other selves. What else?
Another potential downside is mistaking our own desires and projections for actual messages from our parallel selves.
So, if I'm, secretly yearning to be a rock star, I might convince myself that my parallel self is, sending me messages, encouraging me to pursue a music career, even if that's not actually what they're trying to tell me.
Precisely. Our desires can be powerful filters, shaping our perceptions and influencing what we see and hear. It's crucial to approach these connections with a healthy dose of discernment. questioning our assumptions, and being willing to consider different perspectives.
How can we tell if the messages we're receiving are genuinely from our parallel selves or just our own wishful thinking?
That's where intuition plays a big role. A true intuitive message will often resonate with a deep sense of truth, even if it challenges our beliefs or pushes us outside of our comfort zones.
So, like, pay attention to how the message feels. If it feels expansive, inspiring, and aligned with our best interests, it's more likely to be authentic.
You got it. And if a message feels constricting, fear-based, or like out of alignment with our values, it's wise to question its source.
Discernment is key then. What other potential pitfalls should we be aware of?
Another important consideration is the energetic impact of connecting with our parallel selves.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we're dealing with multidimensional energies here,
Yeah.
and those energies can be powerful.
So it's not just about a mental or emotional connection, but also about like energy exchange.
Exactly. When we connect with our parallel selves, we're opening a channel for energetic exchange. And it's essential to be mindful of that.
What are some of the potential energetic implications?
Well, if we're not energetically grounded and protected, we might end up feeling drained or overwhelmed or even disoriented after these connections.
So it's like we're dipping our toes into a powerful energetic current, and we need to make sure we're strong swimmers before diving in head first.
I love that analogy. It's vital to build up our energetic resilience through practices like grounding, centering, and shielding before engaging in these interdimensional explorations.
Okay, how do we do that? How do we ground, center, and shield ourselves?
There are many techniques, but one simple practice is to visualize roots growing from the soles of your feet, reaching deep into the earth and anchoring you to the planet's stabilizing energy. You can also imagine a protective bubble of light surrounding your body, shielding you from unwanted energies.
So it's like building a fortress around our energy field, making sure we're only allowing in like positive, harmonious energies.
Exactly. And it's crucial to do this both before and after connecting with our parallel selves.
Okay, that makes sense. Grounding, centering, shielding. Those are key practices for navigating the energetic waters of the multiverse. What other precautions should we take?
It's also important to be mindful of our intentions. What's our motivation for connecting with our parallel selves in the first place?
Are we doing it out of like pure curiosity, or are we like trying to get something from them, like, advice or solutions to our problems?
Exactly. If our intentions are pure, if we're approaching these connections with respect and a desire for mutual growth, the experience is likely to be positive and beneficial.
But if we're trying to like UAC our parallel selves for personal gain, or if we're coming from a place of like fear or desperation, we might unintentionally attract unwanted energies or even create imbalances.
That's certainly a possibility. Think of it like any relationship. When approached with integrity and respect, it's more likely to flourish.
Intentions matter. What else do we need to be aware of?
It's important to remember that our parallel selves aren't here to fix our problems or tell us what to do. They are separate beings, living their own unique journeys, and we need to respect their autonomy.
So it's not about asking them for like the winning lottery numbers,
Right,
or expecting them to solve all our life challenges.
Exactly. The most valuable insights we gain from these connections often come from simply observing their lives, witnessing their choices, and learning from their experiences.
So it's about gaining perspective, broadening our understanding of what's possible, and perhaps gleaning some wisdom along the way.
Precisely. It's about embracing the interconnectedness of all things and recognizing that we are all part of a larger cosmic tapestry, woven together by threads of energy, consciousness, and possibility.
That's a beautiful way to put it. We've covered the potential downsides, precautions, and the importance of approaching these connections with respect, discernment, and clear intentions. Is there anything else we need to know before embarking on this multidimensional adventure?
I think the most important advice I can offer is to trust your intuition. If something feels off, if a message doesn't resonate, or if you feel drained or overwhelmed, trust those instincts and step back. There's no need to force anything or push yourself beyond your limits.
So it's about listening to our inner guidance system, honoring our own boundaries, and proceeding with both curiosity and caution.
Exactly. The multiverse is a vast and mysterious realm, and we're only beginning to scratch the surface of its complexities. But by approaching this exploration with an open mind, a humble heart, and deep respect for all beings, we can unlock incredible insights and tap into a wellspring of infinite possibilities.
I'm feeling ready to take the leap. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with? Any final words of wisdom?
Just this. Remember that you are not alone. You are a part of a vast and interconnected web of being, and there are infinite versions of you out there, each with their own unique gifts and perspectives. Embrace the mystery, trust your intuition, and never stop exploring the infinite possibilities that exist within and beyond yourself.
Beautifully said. Well, there you have it, our deep dive into the mind-bending world of parallel universes. We've explored the science, the metaphysics, the potential benefits and risks, and the practical techniques for connecting with our other selves. Now it's up to you to take this information and embark on your own journey of discovery. Who knows what wonders await you in the vast expanse of the multiverse? Until next time, keep those minds open, those hearts receptive, and those intentions clear. And remember, the possibilities are infinite.